Hi, everyone. As you know, AI companies don't really focus on family law, but I found one that does, and the company is called Deliberately AI. The software is also extremely useful for other types of lawyers. So if you're an estates lawyer, immigration lawyer, personal injury lawyer, tax lawyer, employment lawyer, etc., you also find great use in using Deliberately. But for now, their focus tends to be on family law. In terms of default questions and folders and tools. So I'm not eliminating everyone else. I'm just saying that if you fall under the category of the lawyers I mentioned, estate lawyers, immigration lawyers, employment lawyers, personal injury lawyers, and family lawyers, this will be extremely useful for you. So let's check out its features and some of the tasks we can perform. When you log in on the dashboard, you'll get a real-time overview of all your active cases, your activities, and then below you'll get a summary of your to-do list if you have one. And so what the dashboard does is it displays timelines, documents, messages, notes, forms, and summaries. This is the past 7 days, but you could always sort that to be the last 24 hours, last 30 days. I've already uploaded my cases so that we can go through this together. Now let's move on to the cases section. So I'm going to click on matters. And these are the cases I have uploaded and summary of the files, progress, and access information, who has access to view what. So we're going to click on Sarah Johnson. So one thing you'll notice as you're uploading files is that Deliberately automatically starts generating summaries of case facts, procedural history, financial details, and pending issues of the case. These summaries are great for client meetings, briefing co-counsel, or preparing for hearings. And if I click on one of the cases, which is Sarah Johnson's case, and we go to client information, this is just short information about what's going on, and then the summary will appear below. So you can put it as detailed as you'd want, but it's generated by AI. What you can also do in the settings section is determine how frequently you want to receive these summaries, daily, monthly, weekly, etc. I also want to just note that this is the case dashboard. So I want to distinguish between these tools and features that I'm finding. The information here, since this is the case dashboard, the information that I'll be going through here will be related to the case that I've opened and not to all the cases. So if I click on messages, the messages will be regarding Sarah Johnson's case. The files uploaded will be regarding Sarah Johnson's case. The intake reports folders, the type of folders you see will be regarding Sarah Johnson's case. So Sarah Johnson's case files folders will be different to another client who may have different set of folder types and folder structures. I want to just make that pretty clear because there's a huge distinction between just the general dashboard and then the case dashboard. So there are other tools we can look at, such as the intake report. And as you can see, this first column has questions and the second column has documents. And so what the intake report does is that it shows you the questions that you can ask your client, and you can send your clients reminders, and you can upload the status of those requests. So you'll have the questions you're asking your client, you can set reminders and request information from them, you can receive updates from those clients, and you can update the status of that task, if you will. And then there's the document section, and these are the documents that you've requested or documents that you can request from your clients. This is not a set in stone set of questions or documents. These are the ones that are just default for a divorce or family law matter. You can customize the questions you want to ask your client or documents you want to receive by clicking the customize button. So you can customize the files, the questions, and the documents for this specific case here, and file syncing, access control, data retention, etc. And so again, this is the settings regarding the specific case. So the files that you have for Sarah Johnson, the questions you have set for Sarah Johnson's case don't have to be for every single file. So the settings are a bit different. This settings is different to the settings for the entire platform. Back to our tools. I also want to just mention that on the note of questions and documents, when your client receives, when you send out a notification or reminder to your client, they'll get notified. And what they can do is they can get a to-do list and they can view their to-do list of the things you need them to send you or to upload. And so you can extend, in essence, you can extend your own platform of deliberately to your client. So that's why there's this view as a client button here where you can send out information to your client, they can respond, they can also see where you are progressing in their case. So they're as involved as you are. And so it's more of a collaboration between you and your client, but you also still get to determine who has access to what. This is not a free way for clients to have access to all your files. It's just so that you get a way to communicate with your clients, you get to view your progress with your clients, and you get to work on a closer basis with your clients. And what this allows us to do as well is that it allows us to have a bird's eye view of where the case is. So if we go back to intake report, we can immediately see what's missing and what's outstanding. You can always search for information on the far right text box here. There's also a section for case narratives below. And these are generated by Deliberately's AI tool. And this feature gives you the narrative of each side, where they align, where they diverge, so that you as the attorney don't have to remember this. And below the narrative section, there's a communication section that will appear below if you have any communications, and that's communications between parties. It will appear down here. And then in the messages tabs, right next to tools, you'll find an in-app client attorney messaging feature. So it's a secure real-time messaging platform built in the case dashboard. So that eliminates the need for legal teams and clients to rely on separate communication tools like your emails. And then after you have your emails, trying to upload them onto Deliberately. So that eliminates the need for that. You can also search and sort the messages you have between you and your client. You can search them by read, unread, by topic as well, and you can search for them here. We just don't have any messages here, but we do have messages in other cases. Now let's move on to the case file section. Here's where you can create different folders and upload client files. So when you add files, you can sync them with your other drives, your case management software like Clio or court filing systems, which will come in the future. So if you click Add Files, you get to select the drive you use, and you can also upload from your local drive. Something that Deliberately wants to add is a meeting listener that will make transcribing information easier. And this includes an AI-powered video meeting integration that will, when introduced, record and transcribe meetings, import case information, identify legal topics that are discussed, and generate summaries and tasks. If any documents have been shared with you by a third party, for example, through discovery or mediation, or if you want to share documents, they'll appear in the Shared Docs tab right next to case files. So any documents shared by third parties will appear at the top half here, and then any documents shared with third parties will appear down here. So shared by third parties at the top, and then shared with third parties at the bottom. Next, in the Access tab, you can determine who has access to what files and which folders, and that includes your own team members. So attorneys and clients can also add notes to the file to add more context and update the file, but you can also still limit what they can have access to and what they can do. Then the settings section is where you can make changes to the structure of the case, what questions to ask, the folders you have, who has access to what, and you can also sync your files with your drive of choice, and of course, other storage settings. The next thing I want to go through is the ability to extend the platform to clients. I know I talked a little bit about giving your clients access, but I still need to go through that with you. So you click View as Client, and then you can invite your clients, well, you would have invited your clients to upload documents, communicate with you, share documents, share questions with you. And so this is what they'll see. This is their dashboard. So again, they'll get a to-do list when you request information from them, request documents. They'll also get a to-do list. They'll get summaries. They'll get notes. They'll get a way to message you. This is where all the messages will appear. This is where the notes will appear. Your client will also get a progress marker. So if we go to home, This is the progress marker they'll get. And then they'll also have access to Dell Client Assistant. So they can go to discuss with Dell. So with Dell Client Assistant, they can ask questions about the case. They can ask about how these cases have been handled by other courts in the past. They can get precedents or any other questions they may have about family law in general. That's answered here. So you won't have to be going back and forth with clients answering questions that general AI can answer. So speaking of Dell, there's also the corresponding Dell for attorneys, Dell Attorney Assistant, which is an AI-powered virtual legal assistant designed to help attorneys find relevant case facts. And it's also optimized for accuracy and responsiveness, and it limits hallucinations. So it's limited to the files you've uploaded. So if you have extensive information on the case, which you'll have, the case files you upload, the notes you have, communication with your clients, third parties, etc. From that information, you can quickly use the AI feature, discuss with Dell, which you can find here, and you can ask information about that case. So, for example, let's just ask which legal systems and legal domains are mentioned in this case. Okay, so it's provided the information for us, and most importantly, it's given us its sources. So we're assured that it's not generated information that's prone to hallucination. It's information that it can directly pinpoint and link to a source. So that helps with accuracy. There's another feature that deliberately has that I'm impressed by, and it's the intake feature. So I want to just talk about the client intake streamlining feature. So if you go to account, and you click client intake, they've provided you with a link and a code to make a button. And what this will do is that you will put a form on your website, and visitors can set up their files through that link, through that form. They can upload files, information on their case. And what that does is that it will lead them to your leads queue. So if you go to leads, you can open a case and you can upload documents, you can send reminders, and this will populate the leads section here. And so if you didn't have this feature, you can imagine someone would have to email your firm, tell you they want to be a client of yours, and then you're requesting documents. They send you those documents, you're asking for notes that they could have just come up by themselves. They could have written those notes, and then you have to go to your Deliberately platform and then open a file, upload those files. So it's a whole lot of admin work that they are completely automating or streamlining for you. So, and there's another thing that they're working on, which I think they're working on, but I think when this video is up, maybe it will be up, and that's the conflict checking and qualification score. So as this leads queue is filling up, you will have to review each lead and see if it's a client that you can take on, if there's no conflict, or if it's your ideal client. So the AI feature that they want to add is one that can review and give these clients a score, so that if you have lots of these leads, which I'm sure you want to have, when you have lots of these leads, you can quickly qualify these leads and eliminate people who aren't possible clients. There's also a to-do list section that I did highlight a little bit on the home section, and it's at the bottom here. Your to-do list is curated for you personally based on the clients you have and that you're working on. Your clients will not have access to that to-do list. They'll have their own to-do list. Each lawyer will have their own to-do list. And it's linked to the leads and intaking system, because when those files come in and when you accept those people as clients and you're sending out reminders, that will create to-do items for you here. So that's also linked to the intaking features. I also want to talk on the summary feature just a little bit. I know I spoke about it briefly. And it's so important because if you have 30 different cases, you're not really going to remember everything, especially at first glance. You're going to be updating these case files. So you're going to be adding notes, files, new information is going to present itself, and you'll have to keep uploading things to this file. The last thing you want to do is start remembering every small detail about these files. So these case summaries are updates that are accurate. It's not going to delete this information. It's always going to be available to you. Unlike something like ChatGPT, where you'd have to start a whole new tab and then you're saving information so that you can quickly get a summary. All the information's already there. you can quickly get a summary of what's going on in this case. Lastly, I want to talk about some of the core features that the company has in its pipeline, such as an AI-powered case calendar. And what that would do is it would automatically populate and update based on court deadlines and information from your files. That will set up reminders and prioritize tasks for you. What they also want to do is to automate form filling and document drafting. Since they already have your case information, they can fill forms based on that information, and you can come up with draft documents based on that information. So that's something that they're going to introduce. They're also going to introduce a child support calculator, and that will calculate child support based on jurisdictional guidelines and obviously input from income declarations. So that's something to keep an eye on. But for now, we've gone through a lot. It's a lot, but it's a great tool. I'd like to hear your feedback based on what we've gone through. And as I receive more information and new features, I'll definitely update you guys. Thanks, everyone. Take care.